The royal family was left stunned when Camilla was found guilty for the unlawful operation that contributed to Princess Diana's death. But the evidence that silenced the courtroom revealed only part of what happened that fatal night. King Charles watched his wife being taken into custody, while Prince William stood motionless, clutching a secret recording that proved Camilla had received a chilling warning before Diana entered the Mercedes in Paris. Harry wanted the entire truth exposed, but one missing cassette threatened to reveal an even darker palace betrayal. Camilla insisted she never wanted Diana dead. But if that was true, why did she order the operation to continue after being warned that someone could be killed? Who removed the evidence from the royal archive? And what did Camilla do immediately after Diana's death that left the entire royal family stunned? The words reached Windsor Castle at 2:17 in the afternoon. On the charge of unlawful act manslaughter, we find the defendant, Camilla Rosemary Shand, guilty. King Charles's fingers opened. The folded letter he had been clutching slipped onto the carpet. Across the private drawing room, Princess Anne covered her mouth, while Harry bowed his head as though the verdict had struck him physically. Catherine reached for William, but he did not move. His eyes remained fixed on the television. The foreman continued. Yet William heard only the warning that had haunted him throughout the trial. If this continues, someone will be killed. Camilla had heard those words before Diana entered the Mercedes in Paris, and she had ordered the operation to continue. 6 months earlier, William had known none of it. On a quiet February morning, Eleanor Grant arrived at Kensington Palace carrying a battered leather case. She was the daughter of Oliver Grant, a retired royal solicitor whose death had earned barely 3 lines in the newspapers. Her hands trembled as she refused tea. "My father instructed me to give this only to you," she said. "He believed it explained why your mother never escaped the people chasing her." William's expression hardened. Since childhood, strangers had offered him supposed confessions, coded photographs, and impossible theories about Diana's death. Every claim reopened the same wound. "If this is another conspiracy, it isn't an assassination story," Eleanor interrupted. "My father never believed Camilla ordered anyone to kill Princess Diana. He believed she paid people to frighten her. The killing came after someone ignored a warning. That distinction silenced him." Inside the case were copied bank ledgers, a sealed memorandum, 2 spaces shaped for microcassettes, but only 1 cassette, and a photograph of Diana leaving the Ritz. On its reverse, Oliver had written, "She was deliberately followed." The ledgers recorded 3 payments made in 1997 to Sentinel Crown, a private intelligence company that had vanished months after the Paris crash. Each payment carried the same reference, Project Laurel. The money appeared to originate from unrelated consulting firms, but arrows in Oliver's handwriting traced them backward toward a private trust associated with Camilla's household. William pushed the papers away. Copies proved nothing. Eleanor nodded painfully. That is why he left the original file number. That evening, Catherine found William alone, listening to Oliver's cassette without playing it. He confessed that believing the evidence frightened him more than dismissing it. If it was false, Diana would be exploited again. If it was genuine, someone his father trusted had helped create the terror of her final night. Catherine examined the sealed memorandum and noticed a faded royal archive number beneath the wax. They searched the authorized digital registry. The file existed. Its title was Project Laurel. Its only page had been removed. Then William pressed play, and Oliver Grant's exhausted voice filled the room. "William, the money will lead you to Camilla, but the missing recording will tell you what she did after Diana died, and why it stayed buried." The cassette clicked off, leaving William and Catherine surrounded by a silence that even the grandeur of Kensington Palace could not soften. Beyond the tall windows, security officers guarded iron gates, separating them from ordinary life. Priceless paintings watched from gilded frames, antique clocks rested on polished cabinets, and servants moved discreetly through corridors once occupied by kings. William possessed titles, estates, and wealth inherited through generations, but none of it could purchase the one thing he had wanted since he was 15, another moment with his mother. He remembered walking behind Diana's coffin while millions watched. Cameras had recorded the prince's composure, but they had not captured the frightened boy beneath the black suit, listening to every footstep and wondering why adults who controlled palaces had been unable to protect one woman. Catherine saw that boy whenever William's voice became unusually quiet. She had entered royal life without being born into it, learning to survive state banquets, private briefings, and relentless scrutiny. Her calmness was not weakness, it was discipline forged during years when newspapers examined her family, clothing, and suitability. Now, standing beside the future king, she sensed that the missing page had been removed by someone familiar with palace systems. "Oliver expected you to question everything," she said. "That is why he gave us something that can be verified. And if it leads where he believed, then we follow it," Catherine replied, "no matter whose door it reaches." Across London, Charles and Camilla were dining beneath crystal chandeliers at Clarence House. Charles was king, surrounded by historic residences, private secretaries, chauffeurs, and inherited treasures. Yet age had made him painfully aware that a crown could command ceremony, but never affection. He had spent decades waiting to marry Camilla, defending their relationship against public anger and memories of Diana. Camilla had survived even longer beneath comparison. She had risen from Charles's controversial companion to queen, mastering the patient smiles required at cathedral services and diplomatic receptions. But beneath that confidence lived an old fear. Diana had remained more beloved in death than Camilla had become in victory. When a footman delivered a black envelope, Camilla recognized Oliver Grant's handwriting before opening it. Her face drained of color. "What is it?" Charles asked. Camilla slipped the envelope beneath her napkin. "Nothing important." But inside was a single line written shortly before Oliver died. "I kept a copy of what you ordered me to destroy." Within 48 hours, William placed the case in the hands of Amelia Hart, an independent barrister feared by ministers because wealth and titles never softened her questions. She worked from a discreet office overlooking the Thames, far from palace advisors who might warn Camilla. "If these documents fail one forensic test, we stop," William told her. Amelia studied Oliver's memorandum. "And if they pass?" Harry answered before William could. "Then nobody stops us." Years in California had not diminished Harry's anger. He possessed a duke's title, guarded homes and lucrative contracts, but every luxury had sharpened the contradiction of his life. He could cross oceans in private comfort, yet remained powerless to change how his mother died. William feared reckless exposure. Harry feared another royal silence. Catherine placed the cassette between them. "The truth will survive patience. It may not survive another leak." The testing lasted 12 days. Paper fibers matched stock used by the royal household in 1997. The ink had aged naturally. Oliver's handwriting was authentic. Banking specialists then followed 3 Project Laurel payments through consulting firms registered in Luxembourg and Jersey. The final trail ended at a private trust administered by Camilla's longtime accountant. Amelia circled the beneficiaries' initials. "CPB," she said. "Camilla Parker Bowles." Harry struck the table. "We go public tonight." "No," William replied. "She paid them. We know she paid Sentinel Crown. We still don't know what she purchased." Their argument carried years of buried pain. William's instinct to protect institutions from unsupported accusations. Harry's memory of institutions protecting themselves. Catherine watched both brothers retreat into the roles grief had given them after Diana's funeral. One becoming controlled, the other defiant. Amelia interrupted. "Sentinel Crown's director is alive. Adrian Mercer was found in Portugal under the name Andrew Merton, living in a white villa above the Atlantic. His comfort came from carefully hidden investments, but surveillance cameras covered every entrance, suggesting a man expecting the past to arrive. When Amelia and 2 investigators confronted him with the transfers, Mercer's confidence fractured. "I monitored Diana," he admitted. "That was all." "For whom?" Amelia asked. He stared toward the ocean. "Camilla's private secretary contacted me. She wanted Diana's movements, associates, and planned interviews." We cultivated photographers who could keep visible pressure on her. Why? Camilla believed Diana was preparing a broadcast that would destroy her future with Charles. The photographs were supposed to frighten Diana into silence, not hurt her. Mercer disclosed that one operative, Marcus Bell, had received Diana's Ritz departure time and the promise of a bonus for photographs showing her distressed. Then his voice weakened. Before she left, Bell telephoned me. The driver appeared impaired. The photographers were becoming aggressive. I warned London that continuing could kill someone. William leaned forward. What response came back? Mercer looked directly at him. Your mother had minutes left, and Camilla's household sent 6 words. Maintain pressure until she leaves Paris. But that wasn't the worst message, Mercer whispered. The second one came from London after the crash. Mercer opened a safe and removed a telephone log. The second instruction ordered me to destroy records linking Project Laurel to Britain, he said. Camilla's secretary promised protection, money, and a new identity. Why keep this? William asked. Cowardice made me obey. Fear made me preserve insurance. The log showed 2 calls to Camilla's residence before Diana left the Ritz, and one after the crash. William carried the evidence to Buckingham Palace, where Charles waited inside a library lined with first editions. The king commanded soldiers, ceremonies, and estates. But when William placed Diana's photograph before him, he looked like an aging father confronting his greatest failure. Charles read the ledger. Camilla told me this proposal was abandoned. You knew? Harry demanded. I knew she wanted information about an interview. I ordered her to stop. Charles unlocked a cabinet and produced a letter dated 2 days before Diana died. He had written, "Whatever exists between us cannot be built by tormenting the mother of my sons." Camilla entered wearing pearls displayed at state dinners. Her composure faltered when she saw Mercer's log. You frightened her for your future, William said. I authorized observation, not a chase. You were warned someone could die. My secretary handled the calls. Harry stepped closer. And after she died? Camilla looked toward Charles. I protected us. The words shattered him. For decades, Charles had defended their love as something enduring enough to survive scandal. Now he understood that Camilla had hidden an operation behind the relationship he had sacrificed so much to preserve. Before police could question her, news leaked. Camilla's lawyers called the documents forgeries, while commentators attacked Mercer as a liar. Then Marcus Bell disappeared. Investigators traced Bell to Canada, where he lived in a secluded lakeside house purchased after Diana's death. Someone broke in and stole a storage box. Terrified that his protectors were erasing witnesses, Bell surrendered. Mercer gave me the Ritz departure time, Bell confessed. There was a bonus if Diana looked frightened. We stayed close because fear was the photograph they wanted. Airport records disproved his claim that he left Paris before the crash. A Sentinel Crown Company had purchased his ticket next morning. Princess Anne remained unconvinced until Amelia showed her the authorization removing Project Laurel from the Royal Archive. Anne recognized the handwriting. Sir Edmund Shaw, she whispered. The retired courtier had served the crown for 40 years and lived among inherited silver and portraits in a country manor. Confronted there, he admitted removing the memorandum after Camilla warned that discovery would destroy the monarchy. Police found the original document behind a false panel in his study. Camilla's fingerprints remained on its sleeve. Beneath her authorization for continuous visible pressure, she had approved an additional payment for Diana's final night in Paris. Amelia turned to William as officers sealed the evidence. This is no longer an inquiry, she said. It is a manslaughter case. Outside, police vehicles entered the palace gates. They had come for the Queen. Camilla entered the Old Bailey through a cleared corridor. Outside, crowds pressed against barriers. Inside, the woman who attended coronations beneath a jeweled crown sat behind glass as a defendant. Prosecutors never claimed she ordered Diana's murder. They argued that she financed unlawful harassment, received a warning that it could kill someone, ordered it continued, then concealed it. The driver's intoxication, excessive speed, and Diana's missing seatbelt remained contributing factors, but Camilla's actions did not need to be the only cause. Mercer described Project Laurel. Bell admitted pursuing the Mercedes for money. Bankers authenticated payments, and Charles's letter proved Camilla acted after being told to leave Diana alone. Still, the defense insisted no witness could place Camilla beside the telephone. Then her private secretary entered. He denied remembering Mercer's final call. Under oath, confronted with telephone logs and handwritten notes, his resistance collapsed. Mr. Mercer said the driver appeared impaired, the prosecutor told him. What else? The secretary looked toward Camilla. He said, if this continues, someone will be killed. The gallery erupted in gasps. How did the defendant respond? She said Diana had always used fear to control the situation. Tonight, Diana must be the one who felt it. Camilla closed her eyes. William remembered Diana kneeling to embrace him as a child, making a future king feel that, before every title, he was her son. Harry gripped the bench until his knuckles whitened. Charles stared at the woman he had waited decades to marry, and seemed to mourn two lives at once. After 9 weeks, the jury deliberated for 11 hours. At Windsor, the family gathered as the foreman stood. On the charge of unlawful act manslaughter, guilty. On the charge of conspiracy to pervert the course of justice, guilty. Charles's letter fell. Anne covered her mouth. Harry bowed his head. Catherine held William's arm, as the title, privilege, and wealth surrounding them became meaningless before one word: guilty. When officers approached, Camilla turned to Charles. I wanted her frightened. I never wanted her dead. William's voice was quiet. You were warned. That was the moment imagination stopped being an excuse. Hours later, Eleanor met William beside Diana's memorial and handed him an envelope found behind Oliver's case lining. Inside was the missing cassette. Oliver's voice revealed that Diana's planned broadcast was not an attack. She intended to announce that she and Charles had privately agreed to end their public conflict and protect their sons together. Camilla had feared a threat that did not exist. William wept as years of anger gave way to grief. His mother had been preparing peace while others prepared pressure. Catherine took his hand. Will the truth change anything? She asked. It cannot bring her back, William said. But it can stop the lie from owning what remains. Behind them, Diana's memorial shimmered beneath evening light. For decades, whispers had haunted her death. Now the truth no longer belonged to hidden accounts, missing files, or frightened witnesses. It belonged to the public record,